Well, hello. This is Victoria Rose. I am the creator of the Live Life Show. Now, this is my third attempt today to get this recording, this episode, Chuck the Stuff, out to you. And I can only hope that you're getting to see it now. So, why did I create this season 7 life hacks? Because I've been walking on this planet for 7 decades and I have picked up a thing or two from observing the life that's going on around me, from the mistakes that I've done, from the good things that I've done, and I have evolved or changed through those decisions that I made. But I do want to just share this one thing with you first. I'm very happy today because I've got my curly hair back. There was a time way back in the misty fog of my youth when I would straighten my hair because it was too curly. And never did I dream a day would come when I'd be going, "Oh, look, I've got my curls back." Anyway, back on to episode 4, Chuck the Stuff. And this is where I went wrong last time. So you can't take it with you, and your kids don't want it, so give it to someone who needs it. Now, what we're looking at here, especially in this time when businesses have lost their life's work and there's no paychecks and people aren't getting paid anymore, or there's no food in the fridge, or whatever hardship, now would be a really good time to take a look at what you've got. And I guarantee you have too much stuff. I wrote a best selling book in 2014. There was only one category that I did not, I was aiming for 3 categories to be a number one bestseller, but there was one category that I could not knock off the number one bestseller. And guess what that book title was? Or what it was all about, which was decluttering. So we're looking at 7 years ago. It was like a wake up call. Oh, thank you. It was like a wake up call for people to really look at what they had and that they needed to chuck the stuff. Now, don't be like the joke that went around on Facebook where I have to pick up something and hold it against my heart, and if I don't feel any emotion around it or that it belongs to me, throw it away. That's no excuse to throw away your utility bills and any other bill that you decide you don't feel belongs to you. Oh, the way we twist things. Let's talk about my mother. My mother was a terrible hoarder. You'd go and visit her, and you could just barely see her little eyes peeping over the piles and piles of stuff that she got on special, even ordered online, stuff that had been there for a long time, and any gifts that were given to her, she would just pile it. Pile it on the pile. So it got even bigger and bigger. Now, Mum had a wardrobe. This wardrobe, from my living at home, was chock a block full of food. And that was in case something happened. So she always had food. Mum was clearly born before her time. Anyway, back to this wardrobe totally full of food, which we couldn't go into. And by the time she died, and this wardrobe had to be unpacked, talk about being the use by date, everything was massively, decades even, way past the use by date. We need to look at being a hoarder. I took great pride in the fact that I was not a hoarder. But the day of truth came when I had to move out of my little 1 bedroom flat in St Kilda West. Wow, that was traumatic as I took out of every available nook and cranny in that tiny flat all of the things that I had hoarded. So I had to put my hand up and say, oh my gosh, I am a hoarder. This is what, let me see if you identify. I could open my wardrobe. Now I'd be so jam packed full of food, no, so jam packed full of clothes that I had difficulty even pulling out one dress. It was wedged in. But I could open that wardrobe, look in, and go, I've got nothing to wear. Have you ever done that? Or the places that I have stayed in, both here in Australia and internationally, I have seen in nearly every single house that they had too much stuff. Let's look at the fridge, which is where the food comes in. I have stood and watched a teenager open the door to the fridge. The fridge was so full of food that some of the food fell out onto the floor. What did the teenager do? There's nothing to eat. So we become blind to what we actually have going on. Oh, thank you so much for the heart. I've mucked up my live stream today twice. Like, duh. I'm so surprised anyone at all is watching. So thank you for finding me. When I lived in St Kilda West, I would walk up the street to go to Fitzroy Street, and I'd be walking up and always look up at this top floor flat. Why, you ask? Because in every single window there were newspapers piled high to the ceiling. There was no way that any light was getting into that flat. So talk about a fire issue. So why do we hoard stuff? Well, there are many reasons. One of the reasons is that this emotional, it was my mother's. I have just got to share this. Jennifer Hines is saying, good to see you're just like the rest of us. I know it's important to show vulnerability. I thank you so much, Jennifer, I think. Okay, so so where was I? I was looking at the reasons why we do hoard. So emotional value. I might need it one day. That's a good one. It reminds me very much of when I was a soldier in the Australian Army Reserve, and you'd go to the Q store, the quartermaster store, where all of the things were that you needed to have to do your job as a soldier, and you'd go in, and if they had one left, the big joke was that you couldn't have it because then they wouldn't have one to give to someone else. So it's like this, that does relate, right? Back to the main thing. I have lived in houses or stayed in houses where the business owner who had a home office was just cramped in one little corner. Why? Because behind him was this massive pile of stuff, and really nice stuff too. But there was nowhere in the house to store this stuff because the outside studio was jam packed full of stuff. Okay, so why don't you sell it? And oh, yes, oh, I've got to just pop this one on too. Thank you. Jennifer says, and then when we need it, we can't find it, and we go buy another. Oh my gosh, this is the truth. And then one day you find the other one and you go, oh, well. Okay, so here's the thing. I know many people hoard it and don't sell it because it's a hassle. And guess what? People never pay you what it's worth anyway, and they always want to beat down the price. And why would you let them do that? Pride gets in the way here. but chuck the stuff. You know, your kids, mostly, your kids don't want it. You need to live your life now. So, to do that, have a look at how you have hoarded so much stuff. Now, I don't, because I've done this, this is my third time. I don't know if I've already said this, but oh well, too bad. You can hear it again. Have you ever walked by or driven by a house that has a double garage? And if it's a two-car family, there's always one car parked out in front of the garage door of one of the garage doors. You know why, don't you? On the occasion that you see that garage door rise, it's crammed full of stuff. I've seen it so many times. So you can't find anything anyway unless it's in the really front part. And who's going to go in and pull everything out to find what they want? I can tell you right now that it is liberating to not have so much stuff. I first discovered this when I turned 50. I travelled for 7 weeks solo backpacking through Italy and the Greek islands. So all I had on my back was, so, well, as far as possessions, was my backpack. It was incredible to live from that. Now, admittedly, only for 7 weeks. In this trip where I backpacked for 16 months, and since I've been back due to the COVID consequences, i.e., borders closed, not being able to get anywhere, if you do decide to go down, like i.e. Melbourne, which is where I'm from, then you can't get back out again to fulfill a commitment because I house sit right now, which is why I'm here in Port Macquarie, looking after the cutest little Jack Chi. Cheeky little boy he is, called Chico. So this is my main thing to you. Oops. Oh dear. I think I'll delete this episode. There's so many things. What else? Okay. How much money are you missing out on with all of the stuff that you've got stored away? It's time to take on board my life hack. Let's see if I can get this right this time. Here we go. Life hack number 4, chuck the stuff. You'll be so glad you did. Trust me, I'm living proof. I'm living right now and have done for the 3 years out of one trolley bag and one backpack. Okay, I do have 6.5 medium cardboard boxes stored in Melbourne that I can't get to, and a push bike, but that's it. Now, not everyone wants to live like that, but I'm going to be living like this for probably another decade. Let's see how life turns out. Oh, there's Enza. Thank you for joining me, Enza. It's wonderful to see you. Do you really wish you could do that? You have so many beautiful objects and very arty, crafty things in your home. It's just a stunning location and a stunning home. But you know, you could go and do 1 week backpacking somewhere. You and Leo, how amazing would that be? It would be a good trial for you, just within Queensland, of course. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Victoria Rose. This is the Live Life Show, Season 7 Life Hacks. Episode 4 is Chuck the Stuff. Do it. I dare you. Oh,